This is episode 8 of Thinking Out Loud Thursday. So before I get started, we're gonna see if we can find a picnic table down this lovely canal. Log rolling, anyone? I did see a table up in here by a gazebo. I'm gonna go up in here. So today is a special Thinking Out Loud Thursday. It's actually my husband and I's anniversary, 49 years. We got married on July 29, 1972. After dating for 2 years, we met at Market Basket. His career has basically been in the deli department of the grocery store, and I was a cashier. On the days that I worked, he would put a peach on my cash register. We became best friends. We really did. We talked hour after hour after hour. And we fell in love. And 2 years later, we got married. We have since had 4 children. Family has always been important to both me and my husband, and we strived to be the best parents that we could. I think my husband's the best father in the world. Very devoted, very loving, and very kind. We are on the same page with our parenting philosophy, like 2 peas in a pod. We click so much in that area. And we're proud of our children. They're all pretty successful. But like many families, when your children get married, they tend to move away. Two of our sons decided to travel, one for business purposes, and one straight out of high school, sold his car, put his backpack on, and headed to Europe. Then he came back and graduated college. So with our daughter married and our 2 sons off building careers or traveling, my husband and I decided to buy an RV and travel across the United States. Now, we still had a teenager at home. So my mother came to stay with us to watch over our youngest son. Now, let me tell you a little story about that. When we returned home, what do we find in our backyard? Our son built a mini bike path, cleared it all out, cleared all the grass off the hill, all the grass everywhere, and built a mini bike path. Actually, the neighbor in the back of us wanted us to take the fence down when we came home because they wanted to extend it further for them. But that's not all. They also built a cave. Okay. Where was my mother? That's not the only destructive thing that's happened in our backyard. When one of our sons was 5, We had gotten a 20-foot round doughboy pool, above ground pool. We had built a deck. We had dug down to make one end deeper than the other. It was a really nice setup. Well, my mother was helping construct it. We're putting the liner on and I had to leave for just a little while. It was actually my son's 5th birthday and I had walked around the block to his school to bring the teacher his birthday treats. Lo and behold, as I'm walking down the street heading back home, I hear kaboom! And water starts pouring out of my backyard. Oh my gosh, what a mess. Those are just some of the antics that go on in our house. And the interesting thing is, my husband put up with all of it. He put up with my mother living with us several different times. She'd kind of move in and then she'd move out. She'd like to travel to see family. And one thing that she did was she left something at each one's house as kind of her invitation to come back. Anyway, she was a wonderful grandmother to not only my children, my brother's children, but to all children who came across her path. She's just Grandma Lucy. So our youngest son graduated high school, got a wonderful job, bought a home in another state. And eventually, each one of our children lived in a different state, sometimes a different country. So they were all off doing their own thing now. So my husband and I decided to go off and do our own thing too. So we sold our family home and we moved to the Northwest in Coeur d'Alene, Idaho. We loved the area in the springtime and in the summertime. The winter, not so much. It gets very cold up there. We were both basically raised in Southern California. I loved gardening, so it was quite a change. And then we were blessed with grandchildren. We have long since sold our RV. Let me put it this way. My husband ruined our bikes when he backed into things a few times. So I was a little bit dinged up. I'm responsible for the awning coming off and maybe a few tree branch mishaps. So anyway, before we moved, we did sell that RV. So after a few years, when we were up in Coeur d'Alene, Idaho, we decided to get a smaller RV. It was a little road trek. I loved that. It was basically a van, but it had all the conveniences. You know, convertible bed and table, shower, bathroom, kitchen, complete. Easy to drive, a little bit better on gas miles. And it was an older van. So we used it a lot, and we took a couple of trips. We did another large cross-country trip. And life was good. At the time, my mother was living with her great-granddaughter. my brother's, one of my brother's granddaughters. And I get a call, Grandma Lucy's not doing too good. Can you come down and help me out? Okay. So my first solo experience really was to drive down from northern Idaho down to where she was living. At the time it was Las Vegas, Nevada. So my niece was going to school and she needed some help. My mother was there helping her with her little girl, and it was a good situation, but my niece was getting a little bit worried that Grandma Lucy's getting a little bit old. She didn't feel as comfortable as she wanted to, just leaving those two to their own devices pretty much. Little 3-year-old and Grandma Lucy. Because let me tell you, she never stopped doing crazy things. This one time, oh my gosh. They lived fairly close to a thrift store, and I had walked up there with her one day, and she saw like a desk chair and it had wheels. She had to have this desk chair. I said, Mom, I'll go get my van and I'll come back and get it. No. I want it and I want it now. I'll just drive it home. Drive it home? I said, how are you going to do that? So what she does is she gets plastic, those plastic grocery bags, and she ties, I don't know, 6 or 7 of them together to make a rope. And she ties it to the scooter that she was driving. And down the street she goes. She got her chair home. These are the kinds of things that I've had to put up with my whole entire life. And my husband's had to put up with since marrying me. You want to talk about patience? He's the saint of patience. Such a good guy. So let me tell you a little secret here. So when we bought our house in Coeur d'Alene, we bought it specifically because it had upstairs bedrooms, 4 upstairs bedrooms, no bedrooms downstairs. We thought, okay, this is perfect. My mother cannot come and live with us because it's difficult for her to get up the stairs. I know, sounds a little bit mean, but I think we kind of have had it with her. As nice as she was, it kind of got old. We just wanted to be husband and wife without her interference all the time. It was fine when the kids were growing up. It was wonderful. She was great. It was good to kind of have her in that partnership raising our kids. But then when your kids are gone, you kind of want to just be husband and wife. And we loved it up there. There was bike paths and we'd go to the lake all the time. My husband got into golf a lot. His brother lives up there, and we had friends up there, and we had a life, our own life. No kids, except for when they would come occasionally and see us. Usually we were the ones that would travel to go and see them a couple times a year. So after I had been down in Las Vegas taking care of my mom, I did leave her there, came back, got another call. Grandma Lucy's not doing too well. Can you please come down and help? I can. Well, it was getting a little bit ridiculous, so we did bring her up we did put a chair lift along the stairway so she could get upstairs. Now here's another thing about my mom. She liked to build these little kitchens in her bedroom. She'd always want like a little refrigerator and like a little hot plate, and she'd have to have her kitchen. Did this at my niece's house. She did this when she was staying with her sister one time. Because, you know, when you're low and you're in a scooter, it's a little bit difficult to reach up to a regular size stove. She would make these little kitchens wherever she lived. And she had sold her home after my father passed away at a younger age. So she just kind of made herself at home wherever she went. Actually, I don't know if the apple falls far from the tree, because what am I doing now? In my minivan, setting up shop with my kitchen and my refrigerator and my hot plate. Oh my gosh. So aside from watching a lot of YouTube videos in the very beginning, Mother kind of forged the way for me to even think of this. Okay, so I'll tell you a little bit more about my husband. My husband loves music. He loves activity around him, as far as he loves noise around him. And I don't know why that is, because he grew up without a lot of noise in his household. I don't know, maybe that was the attraction or something. You just, wow, this is like a lively person here. Yeah, I was pretty lively. But he always has to have the radio going or the TV going. He just cannot stand just to sit quietly. Although he loves to read. He'll do that for a little while, but he might have the radio on while he's reading. I cannot multitask. He's wonderful at it. I can't do it. So when my mom got really bad, so she was living with us for a few years, and then when she got really bad, we made a decision to sell that home and move back to Southern California. My mother's sisters live in Southern California. We thought it would be good for her. We found like a 55 plus community. They had a lot of amenities. My mom's a social person. We thought that would be great for her. She'd be off doing her little social activities. We could get involved. You know, my husband can play golf. They offered so many crafts there. So we thought this would be great. Like living in a resort. So a couple of years later, she did pass away. My husband by this time had gotten kind of settled in. We were supposed to use the money from the sale of our home to travel with. That was the plan. But we didn't leave right away. We too had kind of settled in where we were living. We had a lot of friends, a lot of activities. But in the back of my mind, it was like, if not now, when? Because we were starting to get older too. I'll never forget, one of our sons sent us a picture. Our kids wanted us to go to Italy. We had talked about it for a long time. And they had gotten together, and I think it was one Christmas they had, you know, made this booklet, and they had gotten some money together for us, a little fund for Italy. My husband doesn't necessarily like to take plane rides, so he wasn't that thrilled about it. Now, a lot of times I'll do things first and then he'll kind of come along afterwards or meet me places. So I'll plan something and either we'll go together or I'll go and he'll follow. That's kind of our MO. So he wasn't interested in really traveling anymore. So I thought, well, you know what? That money is only going to last so long. So I didn't want to touch it because we haven't gone to Alaska yet, so we want to do that. We're going to do that for our 50th anniversary next year. And we really did want to go to Europe. So what I did was I started teaching piano. And I gathered enough money. I thought, well, you know what? I'm going to buy an RV. I'm going to take some little trips myself. And I know my husband will go with me here and there. And eventually we'll go to Italy. Not worried about it. But I got to get out. I can't just stay home all the time. He's fine. He actually has, and we kind of laugh about this, as he came up with it. He says, I have a self-proclaimed PhD in TV. And you know what? He does. He's a master at it. His mother was very much like that. I think she watched every single soap opera with her little clicker. She'd just go from one to the other, back every commercial, she'd switch it around. Comical. Nicest lady. Oh my God, I had the best mother-in-law. But when the kids went over to that grandma's house, they kind of don't touch, the mirror and don't jump on the couch like you do at your other grandma's house. They kind of had this little mixed message of what to do when you go to grandma's house. We were always kind of loose in our house, our kids, we never put, a lot of families will put plastic on their sofa and all that. We never did any of that. We lived in our house. It was always really clean. That was our thing. Me and my husband are both very, very neat, tidy, clean people. And always cleaned up after ourselves. So we never had a messy house. So they kind of had three different worlds. Had, I would say, sanity at home, chaos at one grandma's house, restriction at another grandma's house. So they had a very well-rounded childhood. And maybe that's what made them such well-rounded adults now. So I was set, I had the money, and I was going to buy this RV. So our youngest son got married, and I had told our kids, we were all together at his wedding, and I says, I'm going to buy an RV and I'm going to travel the country, and sometimes Dad'll go with me and sometimes he won't. And they go, Mom, why? You've been to every state except Alaska and Oklahoma. I think we missed that one. You've already done all that. What are you doing? Spend the money and just go travel. If Dad doesn't want to go, go yourself. So I'm thinking, well, it's only going to last me so long. If I had an RV, I could keep it for years and years and years. I'd go on one or two trips and the money's gone. Then I got to start all over again, earning money. So they didn't want to do it. And they talked me into it. And I thought, okay, I'm going to find a way. I'm not going to spend my money. I'm going to find a way to do this. So this is where my website comes in, travelgrandma.com. That's where my name comes from. I started this website about my philosophy. of how I'm going to travel. So I just so happened to find a couple of websites, and I'll list them in the description for you. And what it is workaway programs to where you offer a certain skill to a family or to a business or whatever, and they will host you on their land or their home. So what I did was something that I know: children. So I also felt comfortable doing that too, because I figured if I'm going to be staying with the family and they're going to host me in their home at no cost to me other than my transportation, my airfare to get there, and any spending money that I wanted, they were going to accommodate me in their home. I'd have, basically be living with them. A lot of times I had my own bathroom. When I was there, they would feed me. And in exchange, I would sit with their children and I would help them with their English. That was my little niche. And that's what I did. I contacted host families. We met over Skype at that time, because this was a few years ago. Over a course of a couple of months, we made arrangements, and each one I had set up for 1 month each. So I stayed with, my first host family was in Madrid, and then my second one was close to Barcelona. And I went all throughout Europe like that. I went to the UK, I went to Croatia, and I included the Italy trip, although, now remember, we had that savings for Italy. My husband paid for our Italy trip, and he met me over there. So I paid for all my other traveling with the money that I had saved, but spent very, very little, because most of the expense would have been with accommodations. Once I had my airfare, to go from country to country by train is so cheap. A couple of times I think I took a plane, but I went everywhere. And all these families were pre-screened by me, and I felt comfortable and safe, and I loved it. I absolutely loved it. And my husband flew over to Italy, and he spent, I don't know if we spent 3 weeks or like a month together there, and we loved it. He had a great time. And we even, from Venice, we took a cruise down to Greece on that same trip. That was fun. It was kind of a spur of the moment thing, so we spent a little bit extra money on that one. But you know what? It was great. It was fun. And we both enjoyed it, and we have so many memories from that one trip. And like I said, our other trip is going to be to Alaska. We want to do that. I don't know whether we're going to take a cruise or whether we're going to go on land. I'd like to kind of do a combination of both. We'll see. Okay. So I got this travel bug, and my husband doesn't have this travel bug anymore. He's settled. He loves playing golf a few times a week. He has to keep up with his PhD in TV. Because I can do crafts anywhere, and I like doing that, but I love traveling. Oh my gosh, I just got it in my bones. But anyway, I was supposed to go to Germany to Oktoberfest, but I had a change of heart at that time, and this was right after the Italy trip. Because I said, you know what, it makes no sense for me to go to Oktoberfest and neither my husband and I have ever acquired a taste for beer, or sometimes we'll have a wine, or like a mixed drink, but it's just not our thing. It's never been our thing, so it made no sense. So I thought, you know what, I'm gonna go to Egypt. So I did that, and then after that, because I actually had to get out of I had to get out of Europe, because you can only stay so long without a visa, and then you have to leave, and then you can come back. So my time was already up anyway, so I figured, okay, after that I'll just go ahead and I'll go to Germany, maybe Christmas time or something like that. And when I came home, I still had all this money in my bank account, because I'm a very thrifty traveler. When I travel, I like to do different things. I don't waste money. I don't go to restaurants a lot, spend a lot of money in restaurants. So that's never been my thing. In fact, I actually don't know why I'm so fat, because food is not my thing. I am not like a foodie. I like certain things, and you've heard me talk about pie before and stuff like that. That's like once in a great while. But anyway, I think my issue is I don't get enough physical activity. I'm a little bit on the docile side, as far as, I'll walk a little bit, then I'll, find something interesting to do or look at, or anyway, I'm not a hiker. I'm not, a fast walker. I'm a stroller, let's put it that way. I stroll along. Sometimes it drives my husband crazy because he walks kind of fast. But I use the excuse, I have short legs. I'm a lot shorter than you. So give me a break. So why am I telling you all this? Okay, so I'm getting to a point now where, I thought, okay, if not now, when? So I did the whole, I went to Asia. Actually, our son lives in Asia now, so we took a trip there. I think I'll take a little break from traveling overseas, and I'm gonna get that RV that I really want. So I bought, it was called a Class B Plus. A little bit, I think it was a 23 foot. But the reason that I bought this particular RV instead of another road trek, because I love the road treks, was because it had a giant TV in it. Huge. So I thought, okay, I got my husband all set up with his TV, so we can stay at a campground, he can watch TV, and I can go and do the wandering that I like to do. Well, so my daughter flew down a couple years ago, and we went on a trip. And then I took my grandson on a trip with me, along the West Coast. My husband has not been on one trip in that RV. Refused to go. I thought, ah. So then COVID hit, and I thought, you know what? Who knows how long this is going to last? And if he's not going to go anywhere with me, I'm going to buy a van. Be easier to park. I can go anywhere. So I sold that RV. And I was actually going to get a mid-roof van, like a transit van. But then I got to thinking, it was kind of inconvenient to park the road trek, and that's about the same size as the road trek, maybe a little bit smaller. I thought, you know what? I started to watch a lot of videos. I had already been to Bob Wells' RTR, and I learned a lot. Met some women there. Some of them were traveling in their vans. I thought, you know what? I'm gonna give that a try. I'm gonna give it a shot. Let's see how it goes. So, and I could also buy a newer van for less money. So that's how I decided to get the Dodge Grand Caravan. So I bought it in April. I fixed it up. I waited till after Father's Day because I wanted to be respectful. So for those couple of months, I was just figuring out what I was going to do for my bed and, buying my power source and figuring out, where I was going to store stuff. And it was fun. It was a lot of fun. And that Monday, June 21st, I hopped in that car and I said, okay, I'm going cross country. I had a destination in mind. I was going to go. I'm traveling east and I'm going to be staying the summer. Well, whenever I get there is kind of the deal. To my daughter's house to spend time with my grandkids over there because I haven't seen them in so long because of COVID and not traveling. So I really want to do that. I want to spend some time with them. So in the meantime, our other son, who we do live close to in Southern California, they have a baby, cute as a button. And our 15-year-old grandson is there too. So I miss them, but I know that this is the year I'm supposed to do this. I think I just have to maybe either get it out of my system or this is going to be it for me. I honestly, I love this. I just feel like this is my time to this is my time to do this. My husband is in a good place. He feels comfortable. I feel comfortable leaving him. He's got good skills. I mean, honestly, he's been doing the dishes and vacuuming and doing the laundry for a long time, since we moved back. So I don't know, I'm not going to say that I've been grooming him, but when you tend to be busy doing other things and you're not getting some of those things done, he's a little bit fanatical in that way, so he just does them, and that works for me. So he taught himself to be real independent that way, and I give him a lot of credit for that. I really, really do. And he even is taking over my garden, which is wonderful. I hope, because I bought some when we went to Italy. I fell in love with these San Marzano tomatoes, and I had gotten some plants, and he's doing pretty good. He takes some pictures every once in a while to show me how they're growing, so it's kind of cute. But I wish I could be in 2 places at one time, but I can't. I wish I could be in 5 places at one time, but I can't. And I just keep telling myself, if not now, when? I mean, I think he's slowed down a little bit. I don't want to slow down yet. And I feel like, I'm not as perky as I was when I was in Europe. So, anyway, I think I was telling you about, our son sent us this picture. And it was of a couple in Venice. And they were on a canal ride. And they were both asleep. I had this picture stuck in my head for the longest time. And every time I think about, well, should I be doing what I'm doing? I think about that picture. I don't want that to happen to me. How does my husband feel about all this? You know, we talk almost every day. You know, my family tracks everywhere I go. We're in communication all the time. You know, I'll share little tidbits about different things, and that's fun. And after 49 years, it's like, you know what? Do what you want, and I feel the same way. You know, and I think when you love someone, it's like you want them to be happy. You want them to be doing what they want to be doing. And that's how we both feel. And whether that's, you know, healthy or not for a marriage, you know, we'll see. You know, I have a home to go home to. And I've told him numerous times, anytime you want to come wherever I am, get a ticket. You know, the money's there. Use it. We do have a little dog, so that's a little bit of an inconvenience for traveling for him, but not impossible. He's a pretty good traveler. We have taken him a couple places, actually. He's a good traveler. Good dog. So, you know, I'll drive back and get him anytime. But right now, it seems to be working. He's comfortable. I'm comfortable. We're not going anywhere. We're in for the long haul. We've always known that. We're a stable couple. I love him, and I wish him a very happy anniversary. Wish you were here. I'm sure you wish I was there. Next year for our 50th. And just like I hope to see you on the road sometime, I hope to see him on the road again too. See you on the road.